significant historical evidence was deliberately buried in the past. This intentional concealment suggests a systematic effort to control historical narratives. The act of burying evidence may have been aimed at altering accepted historical accounts. Current archaeological findings and historical interpretations may, therefore, be incomplete. In the dimly lit library, a cloaked figure stands among towering shelves, dust motes dancing in the moonlight. The figure holds a fragmented stone tablet, tracing the inscriptions with a gloved hand, a sense of concentration. So what was hidden was not destroyed, the figure says, voice echoing in the ancient hall. It was fragmented, the figure declares, and those fragments still exist hidden in plain sight. This is where the record begins. Genesis 6:1-4 introduces the Nephilim into the biblical narrative. The passage describes a mysterious union. This union is between the sons of God and the daughters of humans. The offspring of this union are the Nephilim. The Nephilim are figures of great stature and power. This sets the stage for a world filled with myths and darkness. The term Nephilim originates from the Hebrew word naphal. Naphal carries the primary meaning to fall. This etymological root suggests a fallen nature associated with the Nephilim. The fallen attribute indicates a state of degradation or descent from a higher status. Furthermore, it symbolizes their role in causing the downfall of others. Thus, the name Nephilim encapsulates both their intrinsic nature and their influence. The identity of the sons of God has been a subject of debate among historical sages. One interpretation suggests they represent the righteous descendants of Seth. Alternatively, some early Jewish sages and church fathers posited they were angelic beings. These differing views reflect diverse theological perspectives on ancient texts. The universe operates on a foundation of order and structure. A key aspect of this order is the defined boundary between the spiritual and physical realms. These realms are distinct and governed by different principles. Maintaining this boundary is crucial for universal harmony. The story of the Nephilim illustrates the consequences of violating this boundary. This violation disrupts the established order between the spiritual and physical. Entities referred to as sons of God departed from their designated realms. These entities assumed physical forms, transitioning from their original state. They engaged in unions with humanity, intermingling their essence. This mixing of essences resulted in an outcome described as an abomination. The union failed to produce a blessing, instead yielding a negative consequence. The Nephilim are depicted as more than just tall individuals. These beings possess the power attributed to angels. They also exhibit a high level of intellect. However, this power and intellect are tainted by rebellion. This corruption defines a key aspect of their nature. The Bible suggests a period marked by the emergence of the Nephilim. Following their appearance, a significant increase in human wickedness is described. This increase in wickedness is portrayed as a direct consequence of the Nephilim's presence. Therefore, the narrative implies a correlation between the Nephilim and moral decay within humanity. The Book of Enoch is a non-canonical text providing historical context. It details the story of the Watchers, a group of angelic beings. The book describes the Watchers' descent on Mount Hermon. It also recounts the forbidden knowledge they shared with humanity. The Watchers imparted advanced knowledge to humanity. This knowledge included metallurgy, initially purposed for warfare. They also revealed the use of roots for sorcery and the art of seduction. This accelerated technological advancement without corresponding moral development. The Nephilim are described as beings with an insatiable appetite. They consume the labor and resources produced by mankind. Eventually, the Nephilim turned against humanity. Their aggression escalated to attempts to consume humans themselves. The Book of Jubilees provides an account of the Nephilim's spiritual fate. According to this text, the spirits of the deceased Nephilim transformed into demons. These demonic spirits are condemned to eternally wander the earth. Their primary purpose is to seek out opportunities for possession. These spirits relentlessly haunt and torment the living. This narrative establishes a direct link between the Nephilim and the origin of demonic entities. Flavius Josephus considered the Nephilim as historical figures. Josephus asserted the Nephilim's massive bones were still observable in his era. This claim served to substantiate their physical existence in the past. His account treats the Nephilim not as myth, but as a verifiable historical population. The Nephilim are interpreted as symbols of spiritual rebellion. Their existence represents a defiance of the established spiritual order. This rebellion carries significant consequences. These consequences manifest in the physical world. The Nephilim story illustrates the price of defying divine or spiritual laws. Their narrative serves as a cautionary tale about the balance between the spiritual and physical realms. The Great Flood is commonly interpreted as an expression of divine anger. However, another perspective views it as an act of divine mercy. This interpretation suggests the flood served as a cleansing event. The purpose was to rid the earth of corruption. Understanding the role of the Nephilim provides context for this view. The flood, therefore, can be seen as an act of salvation rather than solely punishment. Biblical texts describe a period where the earth was filled with violence. This violence is attributed to the corruption of humanity. The presence and influence of the Nephilim are also cited as contributing factors. The violence posed a significant threat to the established order. These factors combined to create a world marked by widespread violence and moral decay. The flood was essentially a large-scale quarantine operation. It can be conceptualized as a surgical procedure. The goal was to eradicate a cancer threatening its host. This cancer represents a grave danger. The operation aimed to eliminate the corruption. The ultimate objective was to safeguard the potential of uncorrupted humanity. Noah was described as perfect in his generations. This description implies not only moral uprightness, but also genetic integrity. Noah's lineage was possibly free from genetic corruption. This purity set him apart in a time of widespread genetic alteration. The flood was a cataclysmic event that eradicated the Nephilim. Despite physical destruction, the underlying ideas persisted. The genetic anomaly associated with the Nephilim was not eliminated. These concepts and genetic traits resurfaced later in scriptural texts. This indicates the resilience of ideas beyond physical annihilation. The narrative of Goliath serves as a significant reference within biblical texts. Goliath's presence symbolizes the reappearance of giants in the Promised Land. This reappearance highlights the enduring legacy of the Nephilim. The Nephilim's influence represents a persistent challenge. The story underscores an ongoing struggle against formidable adversaries. It illustrates the challenges faced in maintaining divine promises and territorial integrity. The story of the Nephilim serves as a metaphorical reflection of contemporary issues. It illustrates the consequences of blending sacred principles with secular practices. This fusion can lead to the creation of giants in various aspects of modern life. These giants symbolize the disproportionate or negative outcomes of such mixtures. The Nephilim narrative, therefore, offers insights into the potential pitfalls of mixing the holy with the profane. It encourages reflection on how such combinations manifest and impact our current world. Unrestrained desire can escalate into addiction, dominating various aspects of life. Addiction acts as a giant, consuming resources and well-being. This consumption extends to finances, leading to potential economic instability. Relationships also suffer, as addiction often prioritizes the addictive behavior over interpersonal connections. The insatiable nature of addiction mirrors the unending desires described in metaphorical or mythological contexts. Ultimately, unrestrained desire culminating in addiction can have devastating consequences on overall life quality. Unchecked power often leads to corruption. This corruption begins with minor compromises. These small compromises can escalate into significant moral failings. The cumulative effect results in transgressions that become overwhelming. These large sins are often too daunting to confront directly. This pattern mirrors the historical abuse of power seen in ancient tyrannies. Evil's initial manifestation is subtle, not immediately apparent. It often begins with manipulation, subtly influencing thoughts and actions. Evil can also present itself as advanced knowledge, enticing with forbidden or secretive information. Sometimes, it masquerades as something heroic, appealing to a desire for recognition or righteousness. This mirrors the deceptive tactics employed by the Watchers, known for their manipulative nature. The gradual and deceptive approach makes evil insidious and difficult to recognize early on. Small, negative habits often start unnoticed in our lives. These habits are fueled by attention, anger, or greed. Repeatedly indulging these habits causes them to grow stronger. Eventually, these baby giants can become dominant forces. They begin to control and consume aspects of our lives. The spirit of the Nephilim is characterized by a relentless pursuit of more. This pursuit manifests as a desire for increased power. It also includes a craving for heightened sensations. Furthermore, it embodies a need for greater control. This ambition is pursued without regard for potential negative consequences. Ultimately, it signifies a fundamental disregard for established boundaries and limitations. A world without boundaries suggests a lack of constraints or ethical guidelines. This absence of limitations can lead to widespread corruption and moral decay. The phrase, "destined for a flood," symbolizes an inevitable cleansing or catastrophic event. This event serves to purge the accumulated corruption and restore balance. The cycle implies that, without boundaries, corruption will always lead to destructive consequences. Divine cleansing is presented as a parallel to the biblical flood, symbolizing a fresh start. This cleansing is not just physical but also spiritual, offering purification from sin. Redemption is offered as a path to overcome personal giants or challenges. This path involves accepting divine grace and forgiveness. The ultimate goal is spiritual renewal and a transformed life. Individuals are encouraged to remain within the ark for safety. This involves adhering to the boundaries set by a higher power. This higher power is described as having overcome sin and death. Staying within these boundaries offers protection. The protection is specifically against corruption. Giants and corruption can be overcome. The first step is recognizing them for what they truly are. Accurate identification is crucial for effective countermeasures. Understanding their nature allows for targeted strategies. This recognition enables the development of appropriate solutions, ultimately leading to the possibility of rendering them ineffective. Historical events offer parallels that can inform present-day decisions. Ignoring warnings from the past can lead to repeating mistakes. Recognizing signs of corruption is crucial to preventing negative outcomes. Learning from history can help avoid repeating past errors and their consequences. The narrative underscores the critical role of boundaries in various aspects of life. These boundaries encompass both spiritual and moral dimensions. Transgressing these boundaries can lead to significant risks and consequences. The story serves as a reminder of the potential dangers associated with overstepping limits. Adherence to boundaries is essential for maintaining well-being and integrity. Understanding and respecting boundaries is a key moral lesson conveyed through the narrative. The narrative prompts viewers to reflect on personal challenges. It encourages the identification of modern giants in one's life. These giants may include forces like addiction and greed. Unchecked ambition can also be considered a modern giant. The fight against the Nephilim spirit is depicted as an internal conflict. This conflict involves resisting destructive desires. It also includes battling against various temptations. These desires and temptations are portrayed as internal adversaries. Overcoming these internal battles is crucial. This internal struggle is a core aspect of spiritual warfare. The presence of the Nephilim is associated with a decline in humanity's moral condition. This corruption is linked to the erosion of the image of God within humanity. The image of God signifies the inherent dignity, value, and moral capacity of human beings. The actions of the Nephilim contributed to the distortion or obscuring of this divine image. This erosion resulted in widespread moral decay and societal breakdown. Therefore, preserving moral integrity is essential for maintaining the image of God in humanity. The narrative underscores the potential risks associated with advanced knowledge. A core danger is the absence of a corresponding moral framework to govern its application. This theme is increasingly relevant in the context of modern technological advancements. Unbridled technological progress, without ethical considerations, can lead to detrimental outcomes. Therefore, moral capacity is crucial for managing the impact of advanced knowledge responsibly. Sin has consequences on both the individual and broader societal levels. Unchecked sin can lead to personal degradation and moral decline. Societally, sin can manifest as widespread violence and corruption. These consequences mirror historical narratives of societal collapse due to unchecked sin. The narrative presents a bleak view of corruption. However, it offers hope for redemption as a central theme. Redemption is achieved through divine intervention. Adherence to moral boundaries is essential for achieving redemption. The audience is prompted to engage in introspection. This involves a personal examination of one's own thoughts and feelings. Viewers should consider what aspects of their lives are being nurtured. Identify the metaphorical giants that are being sustained. These giants represent significant influences or commitments. Self-reflection can reveal the true nature of these influences. The narrative emphasizes the importance of seeking spiritual guidance. This guidance is presented as a means to navigate life's complexities. Divine wisdom is portrayed as a valuable resource. It aids in making sound decisions and avoiding moral pitfalls. The narrative implicitly encourages viewers to pursue this wisdom. This pursuit is framed as beneficial for moral and ethical well-being. Ancient texts provide a historical context for understanding the Nephilim. Exploration of ancient beliefs reveals the cultural significance of the Nephilim story. Ancient beliefs highlight the religious importance attached to the Nephilim. Understanding historical context is crucial for interpreting the Nephilim narrative. The flood narrative is often interpreted symbolically, representing a profound cleansing. This cleansing encompasses both the physical world and the spiritual realm. It signifies the removal of corruption and wickedness from the earth. The flood also embodies the potential for renewal and rebirth after destruction. The narrative emphasizes the need to differentiate between the holy and the profane. It highlights the significance of recognizing the distinct nature of sacred and secular elements. The core message is to avoid blending elements that are fundamentally incompatible. Mixing the holy and profane can lead to undesirable consequences or a loss of sanctity. The narrative cautions against complacency. It emphasizes the importance of actively recognizing evil. Evil manifests in various forms. Confronting evil requires active engagement. The narrative underscores the significance of individual choice. Moral agency plays a crucial role in resisting corruption. External forces may exert influence, but they do not negate personal responsibility. Individuals possess the capacity to make ethical decisions. This capacity empowers them to actively oppose corrupting influences. The ark concept highlights the role of community in upholding moral standards. Remaining within the ark signifies active participation in a supportive community. This community provides a framework for mutual support and accountability. Such support is crucial for individuals to maintain ethical boundaries and moral integrity. The Nephilim narrative is presented within a framework of perpetual conflict. This conflict is characterized as a battle between the forces of good and evil. The story suggests ongoing consequences for humanity as a result of this struggle. The implications of this conflict continue to shape human destiny. Temptation involves the allure of something forbidden or undesirable. It highlights the internal conflict between desires and moral constraints. Resisting temptation is crucial to avoid destructive outcomes. Understanding temptation aids in making responsible choices. The Nephilim narrative, despite its ancient roots, addresses enduring human concerns. The story's themes resonate with contemporary societal challenges and moral questions. This timeless quality ensures the Nephilim story remains relevant across different eras. The narrative's enduring appeal lies in its exploration of universal human experiences. The narrative emphasizes the importance of faith and trust. It encourages reliance on divine strength. This reliance is presented as a means to overcome overwhelming challenges. It also provides a way to resist temptations. Therefore, faith is portrayed as a source of power in difficult situations. The narrative culminates in the possibility of triumph over sin. It also presents the potential to overcome death, a concept central to many belief systems. This victory is achieved through faith, a cornerstone of spiritual conviction. Adherence to divine principles is also essential for this transcendence. These principles serve as a moral and ethical compass. Together, faith and adherence to principles offer the ultimate hope.